Good morning. Another day in paradise. I seem to have you on speaker view. Okay, gallery. There we go. All right. This is Black Crow Walking, Karen Morley tuning in with A Course of Love by Mari Perron. And every morning when I wake up, I get so excited to read this, Karen. It's like every cell in my body is jumping for joy because I know that it's going to make my day or start my day in love, and that for me is extremely exciting. Would you like to read it?
I would love to. While God remains unknown to you and you remain, it's page 9, P17.
We're reading the prelude.
Prelude, yeah. So while God remains unknown to you and you remain unknown to yourself, so too does heaven remain concealed. Thus, in turning your back on heaven, you turn your back on yourself and God as well. Your good intentions will not overcome the world and bring an end to hell. In all the history of the world, many have done good, heroic, and at times miraculous deeds without the world changing from a place of misery and despair. What is more arrogant? To believe that you alone can do what millions of others have not been able to do, or to believe that you, in union with God, can. What makes more sense? To choose to try again what others have tried and failed to accomplish, or to choose to leave behind the old and choose a new way, a way in which you become the accomplished, and in your accomplishment, bring the new into being.
What is the difference between your good intentions and willing with God? The difference is in who you think you are and who God knows you to be. While this difference remains, you cannot share your will with God or do what God has appointed you to do. Who you think you are reveals the choice that you have made. It is either a choice to be separate from God or a choice to be with God. It is a choice to know yourself as you always have, or a choice to know yourself as God created you. It is the difference between wanting to know God and wanting to wait to know God until you have decided you are worthy, or until some designated time such as death. Ooh. You'd miss out on a hell of a lot, wouldn't you, if you waited till you were dead?
Yeah.
I'm on my deathbed. Oh, sorry, God. Yeah, I know you're out there.
Oh dear.
Yep. All right, let's have a look at it. Well, God remains unknown to you and you remain unknown to yourself. So too does heaven remain concealed. How many of us don't know ourselves or don't even want to know ourselves? So we put up that whole screen where we make everybody else's needs our priority. And we have no idea what we want. You know, like when you ask kids how you going, you know, good. What's good look like? And what did you do today? Nothing. It's that state of consciousness where you've done nothing, nothing that was important anyway. And and it isn't important. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you do and what you be. It's who you are inside, the consciousness of love that is inside you.
I lived a lot of my life as a chameleon.
Oh,
So adapting to what I thought I thought other people wanted me to be.
Mm.
So it's coming back to the home, to me, to who I am.
Mm.
And that's an exciting journey to discover and to see as it reveals itself to me.
Yeah. And it's not under the labels, is it, Karen? It's like we've been discussing over the last few days, not trying to be a good person and putting on your super cape and saving the world and rescuing everybody else. And it's not about that. And it's not about being the humble person either, because that flows naturally from the state of love consciousness, you know? So it's not about us trying to do anything. You don't have to try. It's definitely not a trying thing. Because when you try, you never get there. Thus, in turning your back on heaven, you turn your back on yourself and God as well. So when they say when you're turning your back on heaven, that means that you're not creating your life the way you want it. And when you're truly living your life the way you want it, when I'm truly living my life the way I want it, I am in heaven. I have created my own heaven. And I'm not going to turn my back on that for anyone. Otherwise, I'm living in pain again. And I've done that too long. I don't want to do it anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your good intention will not overcome the world and bring an end to hell.
I am struggling with the word hell because
Join the rest of the world.
It's not really in my vocabulary. Yeah.
What about the good intention bit?
Yes, that is good intentions. I so thought good intentions would sort of win your way to not necessarily to heaven, but to other people's hearts or connect with them, or even for me to feel good about myself. And it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked.
Okay.
No.
Well, my experience has been, people can get hurt, and it's not your intention. It's not your intention to hurt anybody. But they're choosing to be hurt because they're living in hell. And hell has hurt. And that's the addiction to pain. So it doesn't matter whether you walk around with good intentions or not. It's whether you're walking around in hell or heaven, really, isn't it?
Yeah. And you can't influence the other person. Like you can the only person that you can do work on is yourself, or to be is yourself. And
can you say that in the eye, Karen?
Yes. I I I agree. That's so important to own it for myself.
So say it again.
Now I'm wondering what I said.
The only person you can influence
is myself.
Yeah. I can only influence myself.
I can only influence myself.
Yes.
And not others.
And do you want to do that?
I actually want to be open to receiving what I've been created to be. That's what I want.
What if it's already here?
It is.
So stop trying to receive it and just be it.
But I just want to be open to it.
Yeah.
To see
open-hearted.
it. Yeah. To see it for what it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
In all the history of this world, many have done good, heroic, and at times miraculous deeds without the world changing from a place of misery and despair. In all the history of the world, many have done good, heroic, and at times miraculous deeds without the world changing from a place of misery and despair. Yeah, you've got the Mahatma Gandhis, and you've got Jesus Christ, you've got Buddha, you've got all those wonderful people who walk the earth. Jesus did lots of miraculous deeds, didn't he? He changed water into wine and walked across the water and all that. But it hasn't changed the world from a place of misery and despair. And we are in a time right now where misery and despair are really full on. I mean, if you have to pay $11 for a lettuce, you're going to eat every single leaf. You're not going to tear off those outer leaves anymore.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, so the misery and despair, like we haven't changed the world. And is it our job to change the world? Are we Superman or Superwoman? Whose world do we need to change?
The way we're looking out upon it is what I believe for myself, is to see the world differently and not be hooked into the despair and misery.
Yeah.
Because as I'm hooked into it, I seem to feed it. I'm feeding it within myself. It becomes my so-called nourishment, if that's what I'm focusing my attention on.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be nourished that way. I wouldn't call it nourishment, but it's like eating, if you use a lettuce analogy, it's like eating an old lettuce.
That's right.
It's ready to go out to the chooks. No, not even out to the chooks. Maybe into the compost.
So we need to compost our hells. Yeah, because when we are creating our lives the way we truly want it, and we're doing it through love, we're doing it through love of self and love of the world, then we don't even see or live in the energy of despair and misery. For me, it's like I don't even see that. And if somebody's trying to point it out to me that so many people want to talk about COVID and the war and the price of petrol and the price of lettuces and all that sort of thing, and it's hell bent on putting it in my face. And it's not part of my reality. My reality is that my fridge is full, my petrol tank is full. I have a full life, I travel, I have parties, I entertain, I enjoy my life to the full, I spend my days writing my book and exercising, and I notice the sun when it comes out and feel it on my skin, and just all that, that's heaven for me. And I don't need to be in the despair and the misery. And that is a revelation that makes my heart open and become really big. What is more arrogant? No, what is? Yeah, what is more arrogant? To believe that you alone can do that what millions of others have not been able to do, or to believe that you in union with God can. What makes more sense?
I certainly believe that in union with God, that I can influence in some shape or form just by being, by who I am, how I walk in this world, how I live this world, how I see things in this world. And to me, it's like a pond, a clear pond, still pond, and you drop a stone in it, and that stone has ripples, and those ripples go out and they touch other people. I don't know how it touches them or how it reacts with them, but it has the opportunity to shift or to make some changes that are for the betterment of another person. So for me, if I truly live this life, and that's my challenge, to live this life in this way with and in union with God, and trusting that God is within me, and whatever I do will be for the well-being of myself and for others. So definitely the good deeds. I've had that thought of, yes, I want to go out there and do good things, but I think those good things will come out of just being and in that space of being. They'll just flow, and they won't actually be deemed as good or bad, or they'll just flow and they'll have an impact. Yeah, so it does make more sense to me to be in union with God. And how much easier and simpler the struggle of trying to be, trying to change the world. I've been in that place. I've been in that place many times. And even, recently with COVID too, I've felt the struggle, and then just to let go, and go, you know what? It's not mine. It's not mine.
The interesting part about that for me, Karen, is that when I wake up in the morning, I join my mind with the mind of love. I join my heart with the heart of love. I join my will with the will of love. And in here, in the next couple of sentences, and I might read it so that you know what I'm talking about. To choose to try again with others, what others have tried and failed to accomplish, or to choose to leave behind the old and choose a new way, a way in which you become the accomplished, and in your accomplishment bring the new into being. What is the difference between your good intentions and willing with God? The difference is in who you think you are and who God knows you to be. So for me, this says, what is the difference between your good intentions and willing with God? I like to use the word love or source energy or creator, because I know I'm co-creating every day. But when it says willing with God, I've always said I join my heart with the heart of love or the heart of God. And willing with God is kind of like, I think I thought when I joined my will with the will of love or with the will of God, I think I thought that meant that God did it. I was handing over responsibility when I said that. However, it says willing with God. And so if we are designed as co-creators of our own life, and we are creating our own heaven, and it's not our intention to make a difference in the world, but when we make a difference in our heaven by just choosing and creating with love, then everything around us is affected, as you said, the ripples going out. And we can be in that new place of now. Because mostly in the past, I have been truly living the past. I've been truly living the past and the future. But the future isn't here, so I couldn't live it. But I need to create it today in order for it to be in existence. And a lot of us don't think about this moment now is creating our future. And that is so powerful for me. So that is where I need to be. And I think that's how we make the difference in the world, in the moment of now and our creations now. Yeah. Do you know where we're up to, Karen?
You sort of jumped. It was making more sense, and then you've gone to choose to try again at the top of the page, and what others have tried and failed to accomplish, or to choose to leave behind the old and choose a new way, a way in which you become the accomplished, and in your accomplishment bring the new into being. So I think we've covered that. And then we went on to willing with God.
The difference is in who you think you are and who God knows you are to be. So we should have a look at that, because my mind is not wanting to figure it out, but wanting to rest there and see what that, feel into that, and see what the knowing is about that's going to arise. Because I don't really want to do this A Course in Love from the mind, because it's encouraging us not to. So let's feel into what God knows about us.
I feel joy. I feel peace. I feel love. And I feel it expanding. So expanding totally out of just a container, and it's radiating. It's radiating, and it's like beams of light and warmth that just expand and expand and expand.
And to know that about ourselves, that we are that light, that love light, and that's all we are. We are a love light that is divinity experiencing life in form. And how easy is it to not walk in that and to not be conscious of it, but to be actually awakened to that and know that this is divine light experiencing this moment with you, Karen. You know, this moment reading this book, and this moment sharing and combining and willing with this love to create this moment for our future. And that's just profound.
It's so different. The who love knows who you to be, or God knows you to be, is so different to the thinking part of me, of who I think I am.
Yeah.
It feels like a jigsaw puzzle I've been piecing together with little fragments that have come from experiences and what other people have said, what my emotions, my reactions, what the world around me has said. All of those things have been like a jigsaw puzzle that I've been piecing together instead of really just being, just being in that space of who I truly am. And I've spent a lifetime doing that. And yeah.
Just being able to stay in the now, Karen. You know, that's a huge thing. You know, what's happening now? What's happening now? What's happening now and now? While this difference remains, you cannot share your will with God or love, or do what God has appointed you to do. Who you think you are reveals the choice that you have made. It is either a choice to be separate from God or love, or a choice to be one with love. It is the choice to know yourself as you always have, or a choice to know yourself as God created you. Well, to peel away the onion of society's programming and patterning is a lifetime's work, because it's been a lifetime of happening to us. And how can we do that in an instant other than to wake up to our authentic selves, as how we were created? And as you saw a minute ago, Karen, the only way to really be present with that is to feel into it, expand into it. And sometimes that takes stillness and silence to do that.
Mm. And I know walking through the bush yesterday morning was a beautiful experience of just being totally present to the moment. Being drawn off in tangent thoughts, but coming back and the excitement, it was playful, and I felt like a child, swinging off branches. And not that I was physically doing that, but I was doing it. And hiding behind trees and playing with the animals, and it was just such a joyful journey. And I think it's bringing that, for me, is bringing it back to the moments, each moment. And what do I choose? What do I choose?
Yeah, I'm enjoying Sylvia and Patricia putting their photos up on our little messenger site, because yesterday I know that Sylvia was in a coral, she was looking at flowers, she was watching the dragon boats and very present with what was happening in her life, and sharing that with us was so beautiful. And of course Patricia was walking down country lanes with grass in the middle of the road, and that gives me a whole vision of her day, her experience, her now, and her creation of heaven, and when we share that with each other, it brings our joy up, certainly brings my joy up. It's either a choice to be separate from God or a choice to be one with God. It is the choice to know yourself as you always have, or a choice to know yourself as God created you. It is the difference between wanting to know God now and wanting to wait to know God until you have decided you are worthy, or until some other designated time, such as at death. So, if we wait until we are worthy, who told us we were unworthy? And why did we believe it in the first place? And is that what drives us? Is that what drives me to be a good person? Is that what drives me to do good works? Because I'm trying to be worthy enough to know God and to know love within myself. And that is just insanity. And yet we have lived it. I have lived it. And, I remember when I was a young woman I just was married, and my brother got a girlfriend. She was one of my best friends at work, and she wouldn't be with my brother because she didn't feel worthy. And it just tore my heart. It just made me, I just couldn't understand it, that someone would put someone else, I guess, on the pedestal and think they were so not worthy of that person. It just is mind-boggling to me. And if I feel mind-boggled by that, surely love feels mind-boggled by that. God feels mind-boggled by that someone would even consider that they're unworthy.
Mm. I look at worthiness as something like chasing a rainbow. You see the rainbow there and you go, that's what I want. And you run after it and you go to touch it and it vanishes, it moves. It's a shifting thing. And depends on the conditions at the time. And it's never attained. So I know I've used worthiness, but it's an illusion. What is worthiness? And yeah, I know I've been chasing that for a long, long time, and yet I didn't know what it was.
And it's something we think we have to earn, isn't it? Did you feel you had to earn it?
Yes, I did. I felt that I needed to do good deeds and do good things. And yes, definitely. And it's like they're I can see chains. I'm feeling chains that are being dismantled. So the heaviness of that, the holding back of that worthiness, and I'm seeing those chains, actually the molecules just dissipating and expanding out, as if to say, well, we weren't really ever there. You put them on yourself. I put them on myself.
Well done. Yeah, for me, it's like I'm really feeling into that and knowing how influenced our language, our superior language is in this society. You have to earn my respect. You are not worthy of this. And there's always an implication on the other end of that, who is worthy? If I'm not worthy, who is worthy? And that puts that person on the pedestal. You have earned this. I have earned this. And like I remember going to university, and I was doing the car share thing, petrol sharing, and the guy who used to pick me up to go to uni, he would write half a page, and he'd get 9 out of 10. And I would write 3 pages and I'd spend hours struggling over that. And I'd get 6 out of 10. And it used to frustrate the hell out of me because I had this whole need to be, I don't know. I don't even know what the word is. Like the effort that I'd put in, I needed it acknowledged. I needed it to be right, I guess. And it wasn't right in someone else's eyes. And the reason it wasn't right was because I wasn't reading the question. I was actually doing the flowery poet thing. My teacher wanted dates, times, and places, and that's all she wanted. She didn't want my opinion, which is probably a good lesson, really. Stick with the facts. But, like we create whatever is we are experiencing from moment to moment. And I remember the first time I ever got a distinction, which was when I went to TAFE and did what I love to do, which is, art. I did art at TAFE, and I got a distinction for the first time in my life after trying and putting in so much effort into everything. And doing what I love was effortless, I didn't even have to try. I just did the things that I loved. And I got a distinction. And I honestly, Karen, I cried, literally bawled my eyes out for 3 hours. And it was because I had really tried so hard all my life to do, to achieve, to do, and to be someone, to be the labels that I'd set up in my head as who I thought I was meant to be or who I wanted to be or who my mother expected me to be, or who, whatever, who my teacher expected me to be. And suddenly I found that doing things that you love is the way to be in heaven and get
Mm,
those distinctions. Be in heaven and get those distinctions. And it's distinct to be your natural self. To be happiness, peace, and freedom instead of getting 6 points out of 10 after struggling for 3 days to get
mm.
a page full of words that are no good anyway.
And who's assessing that anyway?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that brings up the topic of implications, which I'm really fascinated with at the moment because our language is so detrimental. When we say, "Oh, you're a good person," or "You're a good girl," um, and that has an implication that somebody else isn't a good girl, or everything that we say has implications, and looking at that and how it affects the people around us. Um, and yet, if we could all just see that we are love expressing itself in form, we wouldn't have to try anymore. We could just relax into that and just enjoy
Mm,
it, enjoy the
mm,
ride. Yeah.
totally. And I remember putting my parents on a pedestal and sort of withholding, so me filtering what I thought that they wanted me to be or what I might say. And it came to a point in time when my marriage ended and I was reluctant to open up about what was truly going on for me, but I did. And it was the greatest thing of being present with myself, being open, honest about where I was at, how I was. And it just blossomed. That relationship with my parents, they became real. They became not people up on pedestals, they became real people. And there was a shared intimacy. And it was from me being more open and honest and just being free to express where I was at that moment.
Mm.
And that has built such a beautiful relationship. And now my father just exudes love. He's not remembering past and things like that. But every time he sees me, it's, I love you. Have I told you how much I love you? And you can see the love just coming out of his eyes and the biggest hug it's just exuding. He's just pure love.
Mm.
And yeah, it's just so beautiful. And to relax into that space of just being love. And what does love look like for me? And just coming from that place, just taking a time to stop and to be and to allow it to be. Mm.
Mm. Yeah. Yes, I grew up in an environment that was I don't think my parents ever learnt what love was. Both of them had dysfunctional families, and they were in struggle and survival their whole lives. And so when I came along, they really didn't know how to love me, and I was such a precocious, curious child. So it was the squash. And I lived in that for a long time, and then things changed for me, and I started to realize how to love myself. And then I was able to give that to my parents, you know, to show them the love that I had inside me. And our relationship changed as well, Karen. same as yours. And now we always say I love you, and I write them love letters on their birthdays. Yeah, yesterday I gave my mother a birthday card and it said, my heart is so full of love for you, and there's no more room in there for love for you because it's just full up, you know.
Beautiful.
And there's something that I probably couldn't say out loud to my parents, but I can certainly write it in a card, you know. Yeah, so I don't know. I hope that progresses from there. And I'm able to just go in there and love them to bits. But I do. I express that in everything that I do in their home to take care of them and help them. Um, yeah, so that's my expression. And it's really funny. Just sharing a personal note here. I went into the house at my mum and dad's for mum's birthday, and because my birthday's tomorrow, and dad said to me, "What would you like for your birthday? You've got a choice." He says, "You can have that beautiful orchid over there that has two beautiful stems on it, or you can have some money." And I went, "Ooh, how much, Dad?" And he said, "Oh, I can't tell you that." I just laughed and laughed, and I said, "Dad, I'll have the orchid." And the smile on his face, and he knew he's such a terrible tease, and the teasing is such a beautiful expression of love, and people don't understand that, but it is, and I know that when I tease someone, it's because I really love them. So watch out, Karen.
Lots of teasing.
Yeah. Well, it's been lovely chatting with you. And do you have anything else to say about those two?
No, no.
Are you
I'm
going to
I'm
wait till you die?
no way. No way, Jose.
Yeah.
I'm living in now. I'm aware of my chooks doing a lot of cackling at the moment. So I have a concern in my heart if the stray cats are out there with them.
Okay. Well, we better end then. All right. Until tomorrow, folks. We'll see you then.
All
And
right.
may love hold you in the palm of your hands. Oh, love doesn't have hands. Oh, love has many hands. We could go there.
We'll be held. We'll be held.
May love hold you. Bye, Karen.
Bye.
Bye.